What's new? It's Blue. Hey guys, so last video I kind of went into how my character design process works from scratch. So for this video I thought that we could now apply that to an existing concept. So today we're going to be redesigning characters and plot the Vampire Diaries. So I have a love-hate relationship with Vampire Diaries. Like, do I binge the episodes like a madman? Yes. Correct! Do I also hate that damn show? Yes. Correct! Like, listen, I'm talking about the series, by the way. I will include some just lore about the books because I think there's some aspects of the books that are like pretty cool. So also warning, I guess, spoilers for the Vampire Diaries, both the series and the books. So if you don't want spoilers, then maybe skip this one and instead you can watch one of my other lovely videos. I've kind of amassed quite a few, so yeah. But either way, what I hate about this show: the racism, the random homophobia, Damon literally being a criminal, rapist, enemy to womankind, Stefan being a weak ass bitch, Elena being messy but also having no personality at all for some reason, and a myriad of plot holes. Like, they'll write something good and then go back over it, and then especially Damon to me is just like so egregious because like they make him do heinous stuff and then it's like they realize, ooh, this is kind of, oh, that's not, and then they like redeem him and then they make him bad again because it's like, okay, he's not hot when he's being normal, but it's like, you people are dumb. But anyways, Julie Plec, when I get my you know what,
electric chair,
those are my gripes. So I just wanted to revamp the plot and the character dynamics and just do some character designs of, well, in my like revamped plot realm of thinking, the mains. So Elena, Bonnie, Caroline, the trio of the girlies, and then Damon and Stefan, because then they bring in the supernatural aspect to it, right? So, and also, who knows, maybe I'll include some other designs. Maybe I won't. You'll have to watch till the end to see the final products. Who knows what'll happen if you watch to the end? Who knows? So yeah, and if you guys like any of the changes and designs or even dislike them and disagree, let me know respectfully in the comments. I'm eager to know if the show has brain rotted anyone else. It's most of what I was watching this past summer, so let's get right into it. So they're based in Mystic Falls, Virginia, canonically in the books. However, their town was called Fells Church, which I think sounds cooler, so I'm calling it Fells Church. Let's get started with Elena Gilbert. Ooh. So she was adopted as a baby and is ethnically, I guess, Bulgarian. I always thought that was interesting about her. I think the actress Nina Dobrev also is Bulgarian. I'll double check. And she's 17, turning 18 soon, like in a month or so. She's like the baby of the group. And she's kind of emo right now, guys. She's kind of emo. I'm joking, but like she's kind of had a change in personality because over like a couple years back, so she's, let's say, basically 18 now. When she was around 14, she was in the car with her parents and the car went over the bridge. And they managed to get her out in time, but in doing so, they really prioritized getting her out and put themselves last. So they perished in the car, unfortunately. The survivor's guilt is like working overtime with Elena. It's better since it's been a couple of years and she's had an emotional support system and found family, but it rears its head occasionally. And Elena is definitely more of a reserved person. She's kind of dry and sarcastic, but she is very sincere. She loves with her whole heart. And especially after the accident, she isn't one to leave things unsaid. She'll tell you how she's feeling, even if she's kind of like uncomfortable or what she has to share might make things awkward. She'll share it regardless because she feels very strongly about not letting anything go unsaid. So it's all of that growing through trauma, character development. It's so scrumptious. One thing I've realized about this redesign plot-wise is like it's turning into a romantic city central, like everyone just has deep ass friendships. I'm realizing, I'm like, damn, like there's not even any couples that I really there's barely any couples. Also, outfit wise for Miss Elena, I didn't really like change too much from her canonic style, since it's pretty iconic, like the Elena Gilbert aesthetic. You can see it all over Pinterest, you know, like the cami or like short sleeve top, long sleeve top over that like lace camisole underneath, bootcut jeans and Converse, and the necklace, very simple but very classy. So I kept Elena's fit pretty simple. Here's the main girly, and let's move on. Next we have Bonnie Bennett. I was just a rain fall down the window pane. I'm brother bring so baby make it rain. Yeah, kick it with it up, just they go break the pain. See, I would take the dish and break her back in that bed. Love her. My queen. She's Southern and she's African American and 18. So Bonnie was so cool and interesting canonically when she was allowed to be anything other than Elena's lapdog, because I don't even need to get into like how badly that woman was treated. Kat Graham was treated like actual shit. Like, girl, I don't even need to talk about it. And anyone who says otherwise, that tells me a lot about you. I'm side-eyeing you suspiciously. But anyways, I also like, just design wise, I wanted to give her like nice hair, because in the show, they set her up, bro. They set her up. That lace, no, guys, no, that was actual crime. No, that was a hate crime. Like, no, please be so serious. But anyways, so I wanted to give her like hair as if I care about her, because I do. Like, queen, I'm not letting you walk out of the house like that. Oh my god. But anyways, so I wanted to keep like her more deadpan disposition, like she had in the show. Bonnie was a bit more of like kind of like a deadpan, like, okay guys, really person. But I wanted to kind of combine it with how she was in the books, because Caroline's personality in the show was actually how Bonnie was. Actually, that was not how it was in the books. But like in the books, Bonnie had that more of like a sunshiny, airhead, ditzy personality. So I want to combine the two, so I think I can kind of make her sweet and sour. So yeah, I think that'd just be cute. And like, I don't think you guys get it, like a sweet and sour black witch bitch, like this means so much to me personally. This means so much. But anyways, also my main thing with like Bonnie in my little redesign here is I wanted her to have a more gradual relationship with her powers, not just like the kind of like sudden jump starting that we saw. So like I wanted to make it specifically that growing up with her grandmother, she grew up just like around that stuff, so it wasn't like out of nowhere, one. And as she got older, she sort of cultivated her relationship to her own personal magic and why she cast in the first place. So I feel like having it be a gradual thing, and then now encountering the supernatural firsthand is then maybe when she puts stuff into practice. So, you know, yeah, I thought that would be very interesting for my girl Bonnie. Also, for Bonnie outfit wise, I liked when they would give her sort of like, I don't want to say bohemian, I don't like that terming, but like sort of like I don't know how else to say it, but like that style of like dress, like blouses over top jeans, and a lot of her jeans would have like embroidery. She'd have like a long necklace, some cute stuff like that, hoops, and then she would also wear Converse a lot. So again, keeping it kind of simple, but Bonnie's main thing is the blouse. I really like the idea of a witch wearing a blouse. Like, let's be so serious. So yeah, Bonnie's thing is the blouses, also like statement earrings. While like Elena wears like pretty like simple hoops, I'd imagine Bonnie wears like more like my grandma's antique jewelry-esque jewelry. I think that would be cute. So that's Bonbon. The next we have Caroline Forbes.
Does it look like I do dishes? For me.
Basically, like, man, just stop it. Pull over the shoulder, let him with the problem. Chatty might walk, but you really just talking. I guess it's making me to trap him. I'm so afraid because I ain't just talking.
Oh my gosh, guys, that's my angel. Like, she's so cutie pie. I love Caroline. Look at her. She's so, like, I love her. She's my angel. Like, so in my little redesign, I googled the different demographics in Virginia and just picked one because why not? So she's white and Salvadorian, Salvadoran, my bad. And she's 18. And I love Caroline. Caroline's my favorite character, her and Rebecca, and then Klaus a little bit, but mainly her and Rebecca. It's a crime that they weren't like friends canonically. I actually hate that because they hate to see women win. Why weren't Caroline and Rebecca best friends? I love them both. They're both my little princesses, my pookies. Anyways, I kept her still in that sort of like airhead. See, airhead sounds mean, but I say airhead like affectionately, like well-meaning but no filter, kind of like she kind of just says the wrong thing sometimes. I don't know, it's just she's very endearing to me and she's my princess and I love her. However, some of her canon outfits hurt me very deeply, but the hair always ate. Like, one thing about Caroline, she was gonna slay that side part, ringlets bust down. So hair, yes, I definitely was like, we don't have to change much with the canon hair. Maybe she can be like a dyed blonde girl, because I feel like keeping her blonde would just slay. And I barely looked at her canon fits. I really just followed my heart, just going off her thing, because Caroline does have like a very girly style. She'll wear pants and stuff, but it just feels very girly, which is why I looked at like peplum-y tops. And I do remember like the one outfit of hers that I really liked. Like, I don't know if anyone else like noticed, but like after she became a vampire, like right after, and she just had like cunty eyeliner and like she started wearing like grunge graphic tees, and then they just stopped giving her that style. I'm like, why did they stop that? So best believe in this post-vampirism, the cunty eyeliner will be restored. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, I just like how human Caroline is, so I definitely want to keep that. Like, despite being a vampire, she still manages to be very human. She has her flaws and her insecurities, and she really tries her best to work with them and not against them. And in this, I decided that being a vampire at first was like hard because the way that it happened, she doesn't know who turns her, and she felt very like robbed, and it was like a loss because essentially she has like, you know, D-worded, and she had to work through a lot of that, and it was very cathartic because then she finds a lot of found family within the rest of the emo band. So yeah, that's her, my princess Pookie. Mwah. Now Damon Salvatore. Hurt me and tell me you're mine. I don't know why, but I like. Oh my God, you're divine. Give me that guys, I'm only a man, okay? I'm only a man. Canonically, character-wise, I despise Damon. But my goodness, Ian Somerhalder is nice to look at. Like, girl, like, what? Like, especially when he does like the eye thing. Like, oh my goodness.
We're gonna make out. Yes!
I can't. Like, I literally can't. But anyways, so he's Italian, like originally, and he's 24 years old. Yeah, so I really want to keep him being morally gray, but without making him like egregiously evil, because they were making him like so evil and wicked and twisted, and then being like, oh, he's morally gray. No, Damon wasn't morally gray. He was just evil. Like, let's be serious, guys. He was so evil, which is why, like, in case someone wants to call me a hypocrite for liking Klaus but hating Damon, notice how Klaus never tried to pretend that he wasn't a bitch. Like, Klaus knew he was a bitch and he owned that shit, whereas Damon was always flip-flopping. This man had no backbone. How you gonna be a bitch and not even be a good one, bitch? Like, what? Anyways, let me stop shitting on Damon. I'm sorry. Actually, no, let me keep shitting on Damon. This man dying would have fixed half of the problems in season 1 and 2. Let's be honest. Like, Mr. Summerholder having so much charisma is what saved Damon as a character. But even then, that isn't saying much because Damon was still horrific. But anyways, so for personality, like I said, I want to make him actually morally gray, not like chaotic evil, you know. And for outfits, I had to get creative because, girl, we weren't doing much. Men's CW fashion is so basic, guys. I'm begging you, spice it up, please, like add accessories or something. Personality wise, my Damon, all right, my redesigned Damon, I imagine he'd be kind of cold to people outside of his circle. So essentially his thing is that he can be a bit selfish when it comes to like how then he chooses who is worth his time and respect in a way. So like for him, people that he cares about are in his circle. Stefan is someone who he loves very much. So that applies to Stefan's loved ones. So like his brother's loved ones are his loved ones by association. In his mind, that's kind of how it works. He doesn't like just run around killing people for funsies. It's more like if he has to, then he will. Like, it's like if he has to make a choice between killing you, random bystander, and someone in his circle, he's gonna kill you. But he's not gonna lie in the middle of the road and assault every single woman in sight for funsies. And how they get their blood then, I'd imagine, especially just when they're around and when they're back in town, is blood bags, because that just makes more sense. Instead of running around, biting people, putting your blood in them, potentially then making random vampire... Okay, I'm getting angry now. Let me calm down. Let me collect myself. I've collected myself. So anyways, how they usually get their blood is from blood banks. Stefan feels really bad about it. Damon has no qualms. He's like, girl, we need this blood. So they steal from blood banks and they try to be discreet about it, which I feel like we underestimate how messed up that actually is. Like we act like vampires are like, oh, okay, they're cool vampires and they steal from blood banks. No, because that's actually like still pretty bad. Like, girl, someone is going to use that. Someone is literally gonna use that. Like, so that's, I feel like that's morally gray in and of itself. I don't know, he doesn't have to be like assaulting everyone and throwing people off of things and snapping necks for no reason to be morally gray. Like, what? Just that in and of itself is actually pretty messed up. So yeah, I'd also imagine that he has some inferiority issues. He tries to deal with them, especially in his human life, and like predominantly in his human life. He had a bad relationship with his dad. He always felt like he wasn't good enough. He felt like Stefan was sort of the better version of him. So I imagine in human life there was a slight resentment there, that now in the afterlife the two of them have really had all the time in the world to work on their relationship. So I'd imagine they're a lot stronger than they were when they were human, which I guess is kind of a bright side. But him and Stefan really lean on each other. Like what I said, I really like the idea of just like emphasizing that these people actually love each other, because it felt like in the show it was there sometimes, but the way that they would act, it really felt like no one actually cared or held any love for each other, you know. Like how Damon was literally assaulting and R-wording Caroline essentially in season 1. Like Elena then went and would make pancakes with him. Like, what are we doing? The writing was just all over the place. It's like they wanted me to forget that he was doing that. Like, I feel like a lot of people forget that he was like abusing Caroline in season 1. But anyways, to rectify that, I wanted to end my little redesign here, because Caroline is also someone, especially season 1 Caroline, who deals with that sort of like feeling second best. So I wanted the two of them to bond over that. Like at first he kind of finds her annoying like a fly, and then as they bond, she's more like a puppy. So I also just realized, looking at the pictures I gathered for Damon's fashion inspo, he low-key just dresses like a Shinigami, like but that kind of works. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna make it work, guys. I'm gonna make it work, because by hook or crook I will give these men some sort of coherent fashion. Next and last of my little emo band of mains, we have Stefan Salvatore.
You wanna step to me? Said you got a long way to go. You claim that you're so wide. And say you got skills in that bedroom. You tried first and you're so not. And it's just still never come through.
He is 18, allegedly, and also Italian. Also, I completely forgot that when I said Damon's age. Either way, he was turned when he was 24. Stefan was turned when he was 18. So they're obviously older. I haven't calculated the specific years, but they're those ages, I suppose. And same as Damon, originally Italian, but they born and grew up in Virginia, just outside of Falls Church. So they didn't like stay in the town. They were kind of a wee bit removed, but they were nearby, like maybe a carriage ride away. They're so old. Oh my gosh. But anyways, Stefan Salvatore wins the coolest name award, but also the award for the most unserious man ever. Like, Stefan with his humanity off was so funny. Like, girl, stop.
What kind of name is Honoria Fell?
You're kind of the one that killed her.
Oh.
He was literally the harbinger of the Sassy Man Apocalypse. Like, Sassy Man Apocalypse head general. Like, girl, it was so serious with him. But anyways, similarly to Bonnie, Stefan outside of Elena mode was very interesting. Though the poorly written, like, blood alcoholic, like, plot line, it just felt insensitive to people who struggle with addiction. It's like, oh, you struggle with addiction? You're a man-eating monster. It's like, oh, no. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not. But I did, however, want him to have, like, a bit of a complex about human blood. Because when he first turned, he really, like, struggled because they didn't really know how or where to get the blood. So they would just drink from people and then erase their minds and compel them to forget afterwards. And that kind of, like, Stefan felt really, really, really guilty about it. Like, Damon preferred not to do that, but again, with him, it's like, if I have to, I will. That's kind of Damon's thing. He's a bit more, like, I guess, ruthless in that sense. So, like, if Damon tends to be cold, Stefan feels very, very deeply, which is why him and Elena get along. So he can drink human blood, and he does occasionally, but he'll prefer to just drink animal blood for the most part, and then have human blood every once in a while. And him and Damon kind of argue about that. But you know, he tries to understand where Stefan is coming from, but he's like, listen, girl, if you need to, you need to, that kind of thing. And Stefan hasn't had many friends outside of, like, Lexi and Damon, so found family in the rest of the emo band was like a balm to his soul. And I wanted to really emphasize, like, how traumatic him being compelled by Catherine was, because I wanted to keep it in that way of, like, he was being compelled and Damon didn't have to be compelled. So because once he became a vampire, then he remembered all of that, it made him feel so disgusting and gross. Like, he hates lies, he hates compelling people, because that's what was done to him. So just sprinkling some trauma on there, slay. And that's all for our main girlies. And again, who knows what you'll see if you stick to the end. Who knows what you'll see. I don't know, but anyways, maybe you should stick to the end and you'll see. But yeah, let's move on to the next illustration. So here's my kind of brain thought in regards to the plot so far. Elena Gilbert has lived in Falls Church for her whole life, but when she was 14, her parents died when they went over Wickery Bridge, and she was in the car with them, and they worked together to get her out of the car as soon as it started filling up with water. And then her aunt Jenna came to take care of her, and Jenna is older because, girl, canonically Jenna would literally look like she was the same age as the rest of the cast. It was so funny. But anyways, so Jenna is like a wee bit older. She's an only child. Notice how I haven't spoken about Jeremy. Exactly. Useless ass bitch. Anyways, this video is just me hating on, like, the characters that I don't like. Like, Jeremy was just a nothing. Like, and he was a cardboard person. And, like, his little voice that he do was so funny. Like, stoner. I cannot take that dude serious. But anyways, let me go back to what I was talking about. So, being an only child her whole life, her and Bonnie Bennett, who lived across the street, were besties because they were both only children. And Bonnie was raised by her grandmother since her mom was MIA and her dad travels for work. Maybe I should make Bonnie's mom dead too. Okay, I'm amending that now. Bonnie also lost her mom, but her mom died in childbirth and her dad travels a lot for work. So her grandma raised her predominantly. Yeah, that works a lot better. So anyways, pre-orphan Elena was quite squeamish about most things and kind of a scaredy cat. However, like, she didn't really like spooky things, that kind of thing. But however, after surviving the car accident, she almost kind of finds a comfort in like the morbid and macabre type thing. And I don't know, she kind of just feels like she understands it a lot more. It's like having a near-death experience. It's kind of made her less afraid of that kind of stuff. And the survivor's guilt went crazy, like I had said. So she often goes to the graveyard to talk to her parents. You know, she just sits there and speaks to them. Sometimes Bonnie will come with her because Bonnie isn't kind of icked out by that kind of stuff either, because that's kind of what she grew up around. She likes just taking walks around the woods. At first, shortly after the accident, that was kind of self-destructive because she would just walk into the woods and just wander around. It's almost like she wanted something bad to happen to herself. And it really took a lot of support from Jenna, Bonnie, and the grandma for her to kind of reach a place where she was more normal again, or more herself rather, let me say. So she would go to Jenna, but typically she just found a lot of like solace in Bonnie and her grandmother, because they wouldn't treat her like she was crazy or like make her feel bad for being different, because a lot of people would be like, oh, Elena's so different, Elena's changed, wow, Elena, you're not the same. And they wouldn't shame her or anything like that. When she'd ask questions about things that maybe would make other people uncomfortable, they would hear out, especially Bonnie's grandmother. She really served as like a very maternal figure for her, and she gets a lot of healing through them. So for Bonnie and Elena, Caroline is someone that they're not friends with, because she always kind of says the wrong thing even when she means well. Like, she really just doesn't have a filter. So Elena, if anything, tends to like avoid her. So I kind of wanted to offset like the head cheerleader thing by making her like a sweet bimbo. Like, so yeah, she's like the head cheerleader, but she really means well. If anything, she's just kind of socially awkward, but she just hides it well. So Caroline always does tend to feel like she says the wrong thing, and sometimes she does. So Elena, if anything, kind of like would avoid her sometimes beforehand, but after the accident, yeah, she definitely avoids Caroline. And Bonnie has a lot more patience with Caroline and can see that she means well, but sometimes it's like, girl, shut up. Sometimes, but like, I imagine Bonnie finds her more endearing than anything else, you know. But sometimes if like, especially Elena, sometimes she just doesn't want to hear it, you know. And as they've gotten older, especially Bonnie, like Sheila, the grandmother, has told them both more and more about like folklore and the things that exist in their world. So it's not stuff that they're like, oh, Granny's tweaked out. Like, you know, they've both kind of like had some sort of interest in it. Even if they don't 100% believe that particularly, they're like, okay, I'm open to hearing this. So Bonnie has also just been, in recent years, especially as she's gotten older and older, finding ways to like educate herself and hone her own craft. And then at some point in time, right, so time is moving a little bit, they're entering senior year. Then Gran warns them or starts telling them about creatures of the night, right? The undead, bloodsuckers. And even Elena's like, okay, all right, I'm a bit skeptical. I'll believe it when I see it. And Sheila's just like, girl, whatever you say, because either way, it's out there, so you just mind yourself, all right? So she's warning them this to keep them aware, because awareness like gives you a lot of power, especially with another plot point that I want to tie in. It's important to be locked in. You have to be aware, because when you're sort of unplugged is then when things can sort of pull the wool over your eyes. So time moves. Then there are rumors around the school that there's some new boys at the boarding house just outside of town. Then Stefan comes to the school. And now Stefan's POV, a slight shift. He's like, what on earth? Because Elena looks like Catherine. So he's convinced that it's Catherine in disguise, compelling like a local family and taking advantage of the people in the town, compelling people. That's like very triggering for him personally. And he is like convinced that Elena is Catherine. So basically they knew Catherine in their past. Here's how they knew Catherine. So their house just outside of town, then a family friend's daughter, quote unquote, came. Sparks ensued, her bouncing between the two brothers, right? Stefan was more demure and mindful. I'm sorry, I tried to say it with a straight face, but Stefan was like more petite about it, like, oh, hey queen, hi, hey Catherine. Whereas Damon was more kind of like abrasive. Again, wasn't his finest moment. He felt very inferior to his brother, so Catherine was almost like a symbol of, okay, I'm going to make her choose me first, even if it hurts Stefan, right? So they already had their own problems in their relationship before her, but she was kind of like the 5 kg weight that broke the camel's strange relationship back. So Damon could very well be very careless with his brother's feelings, and Stefan's problem was that he never spoke up for himself. So it's kind of like a cruel cycle that was just building and building resentment. So Catherine would like then had to compel Stefan, because he was like, girl, what the actual is happening? Damon did not have to be compelled. However, he was very scared, but it was kind of like a thing of like he didn't want to lose her. He had attached his worth to Catherine in a sense. So I want to keep in the thing where like some of the founding families, founding colonizers more like, but anyways, some of the big cheeses in the town and the surrounding area knew about vampires and so forth and such. So the dad uses them to trap Catherine. I'd imagine, I want to keep that in. And then by that point, she's fed them both her blood, compelled them to be drinking it, right? So then their dad like kills them, like an honor killing type thing. And then they complete the transition. I imagine that Emily was there, right? And because I don't like the visual of Emily having to be a slave, I'm like, y'all have compelling powers. And at that point in time, people weren't drinking vervain or anything like that. So in my thing, I'd imagine her and Catherine just masquerade as if they're both like ladies just on the road, and they're coming from one of the other states, right? One of the northern states maybe, and Emily's from like her own kind of wealthy family, that kind of thing. And even if somebody is weird about it, they just compel them. Like, I feel like that was a simple fix. Why is she pretending to be a slave? Oh my goodness. But anyways, that just felt weird. So in my thingy, that's how it's working. So Emily completes the transition, and Emily feels very sorry for them. She's just sticking with Catherine until she's paid back a favor that she owes her type thing. So she owed Catherine a favor. This was her last favor. And after they complete the transition, she gives them both the daylight rings, gives them both some, like, she told them, please don't, preferably maybe don't complete this transition. And then they end up completing the transition. I want to keep in that, except I want to make it that both of them go and kill their dad, especially once they hear him yapping about how, oh, okay, I did this to my sons, especially once they found out that he thinking of them, oh girl, it's on site, like. So they both feel pretty guilty. Damon feels less guilty about that. Him and his dad had a bad relationship, but yeah. So they complete the transition off their own father's blood. That's so metal. Anyways, so now they're vampires, they have the rings. And then Emily essentially washes her hands of them psychically and literally. She's like, girl, I am gone. Goodbye. And she leaves Catherine, she leaves them. But I was thinking like, okay, fine. How would I make it that then he gives like Elena the necklace, for example? Because Elena then is the only human friend he has. So he'd want to give her the necklace to keep her safe. So imagine Emily gives one. She asks them both if they want something that could protect people from compulsion. And Stefan, who feels very strongly about it, is like, yes, you know. And she's like, okay, I can only make one. So here, Stefan, you can have it. Or you guys can then vote and decide. Should you ever meet someone who you want to protect from compulsion, from others or yourselves, give them this. So they take it and he just keeps it over the years. And then once becoming like friends with Elena, Bonnie's a witch. Her mind is like a steel trap. Caroline is a vampire herself. She's pretty set. So Elena, he wants to help her, right? So he gives her the necklace. So that's how she gets the necklace in my mind. So yes. So now then the two of them, as I mentioned before, use their afterlife to stick together, and they work through a lot of the problems that they had. And Stefan just kind of being like really traumatized that he was compelled the whole time and he did things he didn't want to do. He was forced to do them because now he remembers after being turned, and tells Damon that Catherine never cared about him. She didn't care about anyone but herself. And, you know, then I imagine along the way, especially when Stefan was struggling with blood a lot and feeling so guilty, then they meet Lexi, who's like, you guys are so obvious. You're running around just drinking from everyone in this town where they already know about vampires. Are you dumb? Then they meet Lexi. So Lexi is Stefan's bestie. So, yeah. Then they meander around. And then I imagine that they go to, like, previously, before coming back to Falls Church, they go to Italy for a while, just for funsies, because why not, girl? And then they just come back to Falls Church because Stefan is feeling nostalgic. So yeah. So he comes back to Falls Church and then he like sees that Catherine's there. So he's like, this bitch is following me. This is actual madness. So in trying to like sort of like be like, go away, what are you doing here? Like to Elena, who doesn't know what he's saying. So like he'll like catch her in like a hallway or something and be like, what are you doing here? Haven't you done enough? And she's like, what did I do to you? What did I do to you? So in doing so, he kind of reveals to Elena that he's not human, or like the way that he talks like he's not human. And then she's like, damn, Granny was actually onto something. So, and then once she's like, what do you mean? Then he's like, oh, wait, she really isn't Catherine. And he's not going to like compel her to check because he as a principal, he hates compelling people. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't like it. So after this, like they become friends, right? Him and Elena, because he's like, oh, okay, I'm really sorry for that, because he was like he would be getting kind of like aggro with her, like being like, Catherine, and she's like, man, who is Catherine? Then he feels really bad about it because it's like, oh, okay, you know what, let me lay off. And then they become besties. And I really love the idea of them being really good friends because they both have, you know, their similarities in how they care about people. And for Stefan, he's always had a problem standing up for himself, whereas Elena is someone, like I previously stated, who does not leave things unsaid. So even if she's uncomfortable, she'll say how she's feeling. So I feel like they really learn a lot from each other. So after this, okay, we're friends, cool. Also, I imagine that like Damon and Bonnie have sort of like a slightly contentious relationship, and not like contentious like in a bad way, but rather like she finds him kind of annoying and he likes messing with her. And canonically, do I kind of ship Damon and Bonnie? Yes. And listen, don't shoot. But like the actors just have so much chemistry. But I guess to be fair, the actor for Damon has chemistry with everyone. So yeah, like whenever he's on screen with anyone, I'm like, are they about to kiss? But anyways, so after this, they notice that Caroline is acting strange. Like she's been absent a lot. Her boyfriend Matt hasn't seen her. The cheer team says she hasn't been coming to practice. And like sometimes people will think that they've seen her stumbling around the woods at night. And like the gang gets concerned because Bonnie and Elena one night when they're walking back from the graveyard find her just like scurrying in the woods somewhere, and they realize, oh girl, the way she's a vampire. They're like, oh no, she's been vamped. Like, and they can tell because they've been spending time with vampires, so they can tell. And now they're like, what is happening? And like, they were even concerned, like, they're not her friends, but they were like, where is she? Because Caroline is like a pretty big social person at school. She talks to everyone, you know, she's very involved, committees and all that. So this is still when the like relationships are building, and when Elena and Bonnie have realized that Damon can be a bit cold to people that he's not personally invested in, so selfish basically. So they think that Damon may have done it, and like, so there is like a bit of like accusation there, especially from Bonnie. Bonnie's like, was it you? And he's like, no, it wasn't me. And like, there's like some contention because Stefan is like, no, Damon wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. And then Elena's like, I mean, I trust Stefan. And then Bonnie's like, So then she, like, I know the details, but like perform some sort of truth spell. Or she finds a way to like ascertain his intentions. And she realizes, okay, it's not him. Sorry about that, King. Everyone shakes hands, they're fine. So they all band together to find out who did turn her. So Caroline is like in a fugue stage. She's not doing well. Like, she was just like chowing animals in the woods. And I need to make her like hurt someone for trauma. Okay, she like attacked a hiker around the time, or they found her snacking on a hiker when they found her, who was still partially alive, thank goodness. And Damon compelled that person. Stefan had to literally leave the room because, girl, when I say he was traumatized by the compulsion thing, I mean he was traumatized. Like, he can't deal. So yeah, so she severely hurt a hiker, and Damon compelled him and sent him on his way to the hospital type shit. I've been saying that all the time. I keep seeing people saying it, like, anyways, whatever. So yeah, so now they are like, we can't have her just running around attacking people, because also them, Damon and Stefan, are very paranoid that the founding families of this modern era know about creatures of the night, quote unquote. So even how they steal blood bags from the blood banks, they don't steal them from right there in Fell's Church. They go to surrounding areas. If they want to be extra careful, they'll take a little trip to the next state over and get some bags from a nearby place there. Because unlike in the show, they would just steal stuff willy-nilly. And I'm like, are y'all dumb? Like, but also, to be fair, the council was stupid. So it's not like anyone was figuring anyone out, but whatever. So Elena and Bonnie just feel horrible. They really want to make sure that she's okay because she's confused. Once they start getting her like on a consistent blood diet, and she's just being flooded with all the memories. But whoever turned her, like, her back was to them when they turned. And I imagine the turning process is still the same as it was in the show. So vampire blood in your system, you get axed, and then you wake up, complete the transition. So whoever turned her made sure that she didn't see their face. So even as her memories are drip-drabbing back, and she's just feeling like did you know your emotions are heightened? She's just feeling like fragile right now. She's feeling a lot. And already she was a pretty emotional person, and now with her heightened emotions, to quote Stefan, there's just a lot going on, right? So in his human life, Damon could be more selfish. As a vampire, he tends to be very selfish. Stefan was kind of I was gonna say demure and mindful again. It's so funny. Guys, don't click off. Don't click off because I said demure and mindful. I'm sorry guys. But anyways, Stefan was more of like a quiet, like very like feeling type. So now as a vampire, he's very like, he feels things very intensely, especially stuff like guilt and shame. So yeah. So now they're trying to help her. Bonnie and Elena are just trying to be there for her. Damon and Stefan are trying to show her the ropes. Damon is insistent that they start getting her on a consistent diet of human blood. Stefan kind of wants to put her on like his half and half diet, and Damon is like, no girl, no. So they kind of argue about that, but they kind of find a middle ground. They let Caroline decide because, you know, It's her choice. So she's getting a bit better and better. Her control is pretty good. I kind of like that in the show. Like, whereas all the other vampires kind of struggled and had a bad time, once Caroline becomes a vampire, girl, she thrives, actually. Like, Caroline becoming a vampire, Catherine really did her a favor, no cap. But anyways, so now she's getting better and better, and now all of them, the 5 of them, are working together to find out who turned her. So, like, trying to remember little clues and all that. And as I said, post-vampirification, the cunty eyeliner is back. Wow! Everyone cheered. So yeah. So now, obviously, who turned Caroline is Catherine. And she's come back because she keeps an eye on Stefan, specifically's whereabouts from over the years. And in the book, Catherine was like this sort of like really childish, grating, sort of like unstable figure, compared to show Catherine, who is actually another Pookie of mine. My favorite characters are Caroline, Rebecca, and Catherine. All 3 of them are my Pookies. Catherine is a queen. I love Catherine. Is she toxic? Yes, but I love her anyways. Yeah, period. So I kind of wanted to like make her just like less like, ooh, she's a bad bitch, and more like, oh, that's not, you know. So I'm kind of pulling more from book Catherine in that sense. I kind of just want to make her more freaky, because in the book Catherine is actually quite unsettling. So I kind of want to play into that. And yeah, basically make her more unsettling. Also, fun fact, in the book, Catherine could turn into an owl and a tiger. I don't know if anyone knew that. Damon could turn into a crow. She could turn into like a snowy white tiger, and she could turn into an owl as well. So there'd always be like an owl watching, stuff like that. So I imagine, maybe not that exactly, but Catherine is just, she has eyes everywhere. So I guess the owl thing would make sense. Maybe I should make her turn into an owl. I don't know. It's not like I'm making this a show now, but you can decide whichever one suits you more. So yeah. So she's kind of childishly cruel. So even when she turns Caroline, she kind of messes with this girl's life as a way to kind of just mess with them, almost as if it's a game. Kind of like, oh, look at me, tag you it kind of thing. So, like, also with Bonnie, as now Catherine has come to town and starts messing around, walking around pretending to be Elena. Also, I can't think of a good reason why they would both look alike without then thinking of that doppelganger stuff. So pretend that it's just a coincidence that they look alike, but they come from the same ancestor line, obviously. They're both Petrovas, so yeah. I don't know. Drop any ideas why, like, what other reasons apart from the doppelganger plot line do you think they should look alike? The doppelganger plot line pissed me off. I won't lie to you. But anyways, yeah, so also as Catherine comes to town, I'd imagine then she kind of brings trouble. So for me, in the book, there was this one plot line wherein there were some kitsune spirits, right? Who kind of took over the town for a point in time. Especially, like, they started with Damon and they started messing with his mind. It was that whole book was like a mind fuck, but it was so good. Like, you didn't know what was real. He'd be hallucinating. There was so much going on. So something like that. I imagine then that for this, the kitsune could be working with the originals, right? And they kind of have a symbiotic relationship because the originals are ancient. So they would have found them wherever in their travels, right? So they have a symbiotic relationship. They go from town to town, and the kitsune kind of keep everyone sort of like drugged in a sense. And then the originals have a like assembly line, rotating assembly line of like cattle people, right? Like just like blood bags essentially. So the kitsune get to feed on people's spirits while the originals get to like eat their physical bodies. And they kind of like go from town to town, stay there for like periods of time, like months, maybe even years. And then once they leave, like that town will be like a husk. The people will be messed up. Like, so it's bad stuff. Like it's bad. Like it's bad. So I imagine that's like the main thing. So Catherine coming to town, she's kind of just like the harbinger of that. So trying to stop her, and even once they stop her, it's kind of like, well, you know, I tipped off Klaus that, you know, this town would be ripe for the taking. Again, just to mess with them. Like, she's such a douchebag. She didn't have to do that. So in this, Klaus doesn't necessarily have a grudge with her, but then how did she become a vampire? I don't know. Girl, I'm just giving you like a rough plot, right? Just imagine she became a vampire in some random way a while ago. She's much older than them. So yeah. So that is like the impending big bad that is on the way. The originals and the kitsune are coming, right? Which I think would be cool. So as she starts feeling more and more kinship with her magic and with her ancestors, especially Emily Bennett. I really like Emily as a character, and I feel like there's so much that can be done with her. So Bonnie, especially like you know, reading through Emily's grimoires and stuff like that, she really feels more kinship with her magic, and her intuition sharpens and sharpens and sharpens, and she can feel that something bad is coming. So can Gran. Gran is also like, "Ooh, girl, it's going, Stacy girls, it's going down." So like, yeah, so everyone is trying to like get ready for that, basically. Though I don't know if I would change that in like just like my like mind palace of how to tie in the originals, because I want to tie in the originals. They're so interesting. But I quite like that idea. So yeah, with the whole kitsune mind control thing, vampires can sort of fall under this, but they're a bit more resistant. Again, which is why I mentioned awareness. Sheila's always reminding them both, be aware, you know, be locked in. Like, so Bonnie and Sheila, their minds are steel traps, right? They're fine. So Elena's kind of fighting for her life, but she is someone who is very aware, very present in the moment. But I'd like to imagine that she also tries to like do some mental training, hone her like will. Kind of like in the show, Caroline's homophobic gay dad, his thing was like an iron willpower, like someone would compel him and he'd be like, no thanks. And that was it. Like, that was insane. Even though that was like a metaphor for like conversion therapy. See, again, the show just chooses violence for no reason at times. But okay, I said I'm going to stop shitting on people. Let me stop. But yeah, so something like that, but like for Elena and less homophobically coded. So yeah. So it'll be them figuring out how to free the town with Elder Sheila's help. Let me not kill off Bonnie's last family member. That'd be so mean. Okay. All right. Her grandma is safe. I'm literally cooking stuff up as I go, because like, yeah. So yeah, that's basically the plot right now. And I feel like I can smoothen over some like little holes. Like, okay, who turned Catherine and why? Maybe then one of the originals turned Catherine just for entertainment. And I can leave it at that. Yeah. And obviously the idea of her having had a child before being turned, I like that too. So she just became a vampire. She found out about them and then they turned her. I'd like to think that she was interested. So she was turned by one of the originals, which is why she was able to just be like, hey girls, for your next like escapade, go over there. And they're like, okay. And then she comes back to be like, oh, by the way, Stefan, maybe you should leave with me because something really bad is coming. Just being a douchebag, you know. And then Stefan's like, you know what? You've traumatized me enough. So yeah, they handle Catherine, but there are bigger things at work. Also in the books, Klaus was so scary. Like, oh my goodness, Book Klaus wasn't like, oh my gosh, Klaus, Pookie. No, he wasn't Pookie at all. It was so scary. But yeah, so that's the plot right now. So just a little side note and elaboration on my earlier statement. So formal. On my earlier statement about it being aromantic central. Me personally, I really just wanted to like first make sure that everyone had like a good, strong, like mutual love just as a base from which romance can then grow if like I choose to then start pairing people together. So like that is my reasoning for that. I'm just a sucker for found family and friendship, power of friendship and all that. So that's why that is the primary thing here, along with the plot and kind of like, I guess, a bit of mystery and intrigue. But personally, I can't decide between Bonnie and Elena, like a childhood friends to lovers, me and my witch GF dynamic. I don't know, what ships do you think that I could make with this redesigned plot? Who do you personally ship in this redesigned plot? So sound off in the comments. My personal ships from the canon show are Caroline. Don't shoot. I know some people say it's toxic or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know. I just like it. Like, I just really like that, like, sunshine girl and evil man dynamic. Like, and it's like he's an evil man, but he's soft for her. Like, I like it. Guys, come on, guys. Hear me out. Like, girl, you can't tell me that they're just, like, not soulmates. Don't lie. And then Damon and Bonnie in the show, that's the reason why I'm like, should I add them in somewhere? Because the fact that those two never, like, tried dating in canon is insane. Because look at how much, well, I know why. It's because of racism, but whatever. Look how much, like, chemistry the actress for Bonnie and the actor for Damon had. Look, like, they had so much chemistry. Like, it's madness. It's actually madness. So, anyways, that was today's redesign video. So my designing process on an existing piece of media. So here are all the pieces, including the bonus pieces. I snuck the speed paints in there. Aren't you glad that you watched till the end? I'm sure you're so happy. You're so happy that you even subscribed and turned on the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me in future, right? You're so happy that you pressed like and you even left a comment to tell me what you liked about this video and who was your favorite part of the redesign. Ugh, that's so nice of you. You're so kind and so demure. I can't stop saying demure. Like, I've seen people talking about how much they hate it, and now I can't stop saying it. But anyways, I appreciate you, and so do all of the girlies who got redesigned today. And they're all so much happier that they're being written by me and not Julie Plec, because Julie Plec, when I get my paws on you... Let me stop. Let me collect myself. But anyways, my favorite thing about Vampire Diaries is this video essay. It's literally like one of my number one comfort videos. I watch it once a month. Go watch it. It summarizes the whole show. Also, once again, this was so much fun. And thank you for all the support and all the kindness and all the sweet words that you guys leave. We're really, really close to 1K, which is kind of insane. That's kind of crazy, guys. You're so crazy for that. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. Oh my gosh, thank you. And I didn't even have to compel you or anything, like, because all of you guys are on vervain, I assume. Anyways, stupid jokes aside, as always, resources are in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.